Good morning, good morning, good morning. I am so excited for you to be here this morning. I am Shelley Butler.
I'm Yves Doucet.
And this is Kevin Snook, and you are on Mindset Monday. So excited to have Kevin Snook with us this morning, all the way from Thailand, where I'm sure there's no snow, right?
No snow, no snow.
No snow, yeah. Well, we're here in Canada and we have lots of snow. Kevin is a husband, a father, a health nut. Actually, I should say health nut, a husband, a father,
Yes.
a leader. Yeah. Kevin is really strong in his accolades of what he believes is fundamentally most important. And you guys are going to find out about that in a few moments. Kevin helps CEOs build leadership teams, and Yves and I are all about making sure that the leader isn't the dictator. The leader just makes sure they build other leaders. So Kevin aligns with us perfectly. He believes that his frontline employees have the ability to make the decisions as long as they're given the information that they need. And that's what a lot of leaders make the biggest mistake at. We'll only give them a little bit. We'll expect them to do the very best, but we'll only give them a little bit, maybe what we think they need to know. Yeah. Kevin also wrote a book called Make It Right. It is a little dog-eared here because I refer to this book a lot. I think that Kevin has a way to speak an essential language like no other. He says what he means and he means what he says. And he truly believes in what he says, and you see that. So thank you so much, Kevin, for being with us here this morning, all the way from Thailand at 8:30 at night.
That is a lovely introduction. Thank you very much.
Make it right.
Make it right.
Yes. So Kevin, talk to us.
All right. Well, great to be here. And
yeah.
it's lovely to be invited to talk to a group. And, I've been following what you guys have been doing with the company and, the transition from Yves to Shelley as well. And we've known each other now for 5 or 6 years. And it's been lovely to see the growth of you, Shelley, into your role and the growth of the company as a whole. And, the Mindset Mondays and everything that you're doing over there, it's inspirational to me as well. So, I'm glad to be here and share whatever I can.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question, Kevin?
Of course.
So like Shelley, like her introduction said, like, as long as like leadership comes from allowing, everybody to have the right information, right? And in my personal, this is my personal experience, it comes at like allowing people to make decisions, right? Comes at a kind of I had to let go.
Yes.
I had to let go, like just what me and Shelley, I had to let her go. You know what I mean? I'm there, but she's the CEO and I have to let her go. And for me, I've been, a boss for a long time. And that was like probably the last 10 years, it's been the hardest thing for me to do, like to let go. Like because I used to have like lineups at my door in my office. People would come and ask me, and I thought, this is ridiculous, right? It seems like you can't buy a pen without me like having to sign off on it. So, and I'm just wondering if this is what you've encountered in your coaching, and if you could speak to that a bit.
Yeah, it's a very real situation in many, many companies. And I work a lot in manufacturing. And in manufacturing, you've got to buy a lot of stuff, right? You've got to buy equipment. You've got to buy the materials to keep running the equipment. You've got to buy the sort of supplies that you required for everybody to be able to do it, the tools. So there's a lot of purchasing going on. And if you've always got to go up to the highest level in order to be able to spend any money, it's a huge challenge. It just slows everything down. And so I think a part of it is giving people the the capability to be able to make the types of decisions that you would want them to make, and that, you know, the group would want them to make in order to take the company forward well. And a lot of times it's just that you have a different perspective than the other people. And for me, it's the frontline employees that are making the most important decisions every second of the day, right?
Yeah.
And that doesn't matter whether it's a service industry like a Starbucks, or whether it's a manufacturing industry or your hotel business, whatever. Those people that are on the front line are making the forward-facing decisions, the decisions that directly impact the customer or the consumer. And so you want them to make really good decisions. And then what we do is we put them in place. We say, hey, look, we want you to make really good decisions, but I'm only going to tell you this amount, right? I'm just going to tell you what I think you really need to know. And then I'm only going to give you this amount of scope. You know, you can buy a pen for $5, but if you need something, you know, if you need a stapler for $10, you got to come and get it signed off by your boss, right?
Right.
And it's like, they need the tools. I've never known a person come to work to try to do a bad job, right? Those people, especially the frontline employees, are more dependent on that job than you are, right?
Yeah.
You may be the owner of the company and you think that, you know, this is a big deal for you, but that person's got to put their kid through university. They've got to be able to, you know, get a loan for the new car. They've got to be able to, whatever it is, they've got to be able to get heating for their house. These are the people that want to do a great job because they want the company to be successful, and they're dependent on that happening. And then we treat people like they're just a tool to get a job done. That's the part that we've got to change around, right? If we believe that people have ownership and they want the company to move forward, then why not give them the information and the tools to be able to do that?
So it's like, if I'm hearing you correctly, it's like, instead of believing they're there to steal from you or like mistreat you or abuse you, you actually, you know, you believe in them, right? That they're there to learn and to do a good job. And it's a belief.
You mentioned having a company, and having a company is like having a baby, right?
Yeah.
But that baby needs to grow up.
I don't know. I never had a baby.
Just like it.
I know you've had babies, and they're hard to let go of. You want them to grow up, right? But in order for them to grow up and start making conscious, good decisions, you have to allow them to make those decisions. You have to give them some kind of opportunity to show that they're good people. And then you've got to catch them doing things right. You're not catching them doing the wrong things and trying to correct them. Every time they do something good, it's an opportunity for interaction. Say, oh, it's fantastic. I love the way you did that. And, you know, how can we get you doing that more? And what would you need from me to be able to do that more and make your job a little bit more enjoyable? And you know, that's kind of the thing that we're looking out for.
I love that. Catch them doing something right. And I've heard that before. And it seems that we're spending so much time and energy catching people doing something wrong, right? And like that is like in order, and we were talking about this, Shelley and I, just a couple of weeks ago. You know what? Like, we spend a lot of time catching people doing something good, and it takes an awful lot of energy to repeat the good. But if you repeat good, that becomes the truth. Like, it becomes real, right? If you say it long enough and forcefully enough, like that you believe in whatever you're doing, it becomes the truth. Yeah.
Well, where is it coming from, right? So if you think about catching people doing things wrong, it comes from fear.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
So I'm afraid that something's going to go wrong. I'm watching out for it. And when it starts to go wrong, I'm going to catch it and fix it, right? And then the other one comes from for me, it's like learning and growth. So if I want people to do the right things, then what I'm doing is I'm looking out for the opportunity to give them more. And in order to give them more, I want to catch them doing a little bit right, and then I give them a little bit more. And I mentioned that's like children, because at some point, you know, I've got 3 teenagers, right, at 18, 17, and 15. And at that point, you've got to be able to say, okay, now you guys go make decisions, right? Here's some budget and here's some rope, right? And go make some decisions, and then you let them go, and you're catching them also. My philosophy with them is exactly the same, is how do I catch them doing things right? Hey, it was great that you called me when you got into trouble. Hey, it was great that you let me know what time you were coming back, and it's exactly the same. And for me, that idea of leadership is very simple. It's, hey, let's have a very clear and compelling direction where we want to go and where you want to go too, right? So let's make sure we're aligned in where we want to go. And then how do I help you get there in the most effective way? And that's really what the leadership role comes down to.
It's interesting,
Absolutely.
right? Oh, sorry, did you want to ask
Okay, you
something?
go ahead.
I'm like stealing the conversation.
No, not at all. There's no stealing here. We were so excited about it. All I was really going to say is, unless that is, unless they have the opportunity to fail and perhaps make a wrong decision, and for us to show them that, yes, we have your back, we'll fix it together, right? Yeah. There's never that opportunity, right? If we're constantly trying to mitigate the negative, right? Because Eve and I are huge in reinforcing the positive, but if we're always trying to mitigate the negative, they never fail, and they never learn from that failure, and they never learn that we truly have their back. So you can say for the longest time as a leader, I'm here to serve you, and I've got your back. But until they actually fail and they're on their knees going, oh, right? And we can say, hey, we got this, we can fix this. You never get that opportunity to show them that that is truth. And so many frontline workers have the belief, have the negative bias that we're there to nail them to the wall every time.
Well, it's a negative bias based on fact. In my experience, there's a lot of people out there that are treating frontline employees and any employees that way. And so, it's not just a stereotype. It is actually happening out there a lot. And I think one of the culprits for that is data, right? And the way that we use data in different scenarios. So, in working in a manufacturing company, let's say you're aiming for an 85% efficiency, and the guys come in the morning and they say, hey, well, look, we hit 80% efficiency. It's like, well, what's the gap? We were aiming for 80. We were aiming for 85. We got 80. There's a 5. What is that 5% gap? What went wrong? What was the issue? And we talk about continuous improvement, and in continuous improvement, it means that something's continuously wrong, right? If you look at it that way, or you can say,
that's so true, right? Like it's a mindset in a way.
It's a mindset of a gap, right? Yeah. Rather than looking at it in a different way and says, okay, we got an opportunity here to get another 5%, right? What is it that we did well to get us to 80? And what is it that we're going to do well to get us to 85? And it's a very subtle change, but it's about either using data to beat people up or data to show them an opportunity of how we as a group can do better. And just framing it that way and then looking for the opportunity, you automatically have to say, hey, what went right in the 80%, right? What was it? And have we ever achieved 86% before? What was it that we did differently on that day? Oh, that's fantastic. We've got it before. That means we know we can do it again. Now we just need to find those little nuggets to get us from here to there. And it's just a different framing.
I love that, Yves. That's so poignant. I remember Yves calling me and we're talking about goal setting, and he said, gee, Shelley, I said I was going to read 100 books this year, and I didn't quite make it. So instead of being so excited about all the books that he did read, he didn't meet the goal. Therefore, the 80 books that he did read, for some reason, didn't qualify anymore for a win. It's so interesting that you say it like that, right?
And there's another way of framing that with people with sales targets, right? And they're afraid to miss their target. And as leaders, what we think they do then is, I'm afraid to miss my target, so I'm going to lowball it, right? To make sure that I get it. And that's not what people do. People try to do the best that they can, right? It's just that they're afraid of missing that target. We put this fear in. And instead of doing that, what I like to do is set a target and then set a stretch target, right? And so there's a target that we all think we're probably likely to hit, and then we've got a stretch target. And that stretch target, anywhere you can get in between, anything you can get in between there is, is great. That's really worth rewarding. And so rather than having a target and missing it, you set it the other way. You set it in a positive way.
I love, and then like you're so
that.
right. Shelley gave you my example of my 2020 goal was to read 100 books, and I reached actually 92. So what I did is I stretched it. I stretched the end of the year until last week. And the funny thing is, like, nobody knows that I had this goal. It's just in my mind. And for me, like, it was, oh my God, like I've never read 92 books in a year. Like typically it's
Right.
50 books, right? And so I was disappointed that I didn't get that goal. And I was fixated on that missing 8 books, right? And I had to reset my mind to say, well, what did I learn here? What was the result of reading these books? What new habits did I get? What insights did I get? How did it change my life, right? And it took some time for me to reset that, because we have that mindset in our lives. Like we're fixated on the gap, that like we didn't achieve the goal, right? And it's totally wrong, right? It's like it's a mindset. And you're right about salespeople. And that's why in Dovico, we don't have, nobody's paid on commission. Everybody at Dovico has a salary. So we can remove that, like,
Fear.
that. Because all of these things, what they do is they set a perception of negativity. It's so powerful. Yeah, it's very good.
Well, this is why I like the idea of personal KPI as well, right? Or key performance indicators. A lot of companies set goals and they say, okay, this is what we want everybody to achieve. And then some of the people, they don't even have any, they don't have any influence on that particular goal, yet for some reason they're still held accountable for it. Whereas if you say to individuals, hey, what do you think you could achieve? What do you think you can do this week, this month, this year? What would you like to see from yourself over this period of time, right? What would be a new personal best for you? And then they can choose how they move forward. And you don't need everybody charging forward at top speed, right? Well, you do want everybody growing at their rate, at what works for them. And everybody has a different personal situation that year. Everybody has different other things going on that year. So you want to find something that's relevant for the individual, that they feel excited about going for, and they set up as their own new personal best each week or each month. And then they can feel great, because not only are they taking ownership for it, something they want to achieve, but also they know how that fits in with the overall corporate plan, because that discussion with the boss is around, that's fantastic. Now, how's that going to fit in with everything? How does it fit in with the company goals, but also how does it fit in with your own home life and what you're trying to achieve separate from work as well?
Oh, I love that. You know, when we used to focus on those goals, right? We did have, of course, they had sales targets that they had to reach. I mean, what company didn't? But when that was the focus, what I would hear a lot in my office is why they couldn't reach those goals. It would be a lot of why I can't. When we took the focus off of those sales numbers, it was all of a sudden, it was what else I could do to get those numbers in. It was an instant switch in our organization of that fear of, I'm going to have to explain myself to Shelley at the end of this quarter of why I didn't get it. So I'll just come into her office every day to reiterate. But when I kept, and it took years to tell you the honest truth, to say, well, wait a minute, that's not, this number isn't the end all be all. What else can we do? So for us, it's really important that we find something, like you were saying, that enlightens them, that gives them spirit, their own personal spirit of moving forward. We want to find the talent within them. We want to put them in the position, that they are going to shine. That is huge. That has been Yves' mantra since 2013 at Dovico. And that's exactly what we've done. We've doubled down in finding what you're really good at. May have hired you as a developer, but man, within a few months, I realized that, wow, you may be great at the job. You do not like that. You do not enjoy doing that. And let's just be honest. Let's just be honest with one another, because it doesn't mean that you have to vacate Dovico. It just means that perhaps there's another role for you, that you are going to be more creative and more innovative, and just a spark in your step, or a sprint in your step, if you will. That's what we want to see. People walk into the Dovico offices and they go, why does it feel different in here?
Yeah.
Well, because they're engaged, right? And that's that whole feeling around, I've got some ownership for this. I'm engaged with what I'm doing. Not only do I know what I'm doing and where I'm going, but I love doing it. And I call that the professional DNA, right? It's like, what is my professional DNA? There's some people, and I use the example of a lion and a gorilla, right? And a lion, they're both fantastic creatures, right? Both kings of the jungle in a different way. And the lion is out there hunting and finding, to me, this is the CEO, right? It's the CEO is always out there looking for something new, having to chase it, having to go after it, take risks. And then the gorilla is like the COO. Like they're sitting back and they're kind of building their territory, and they're putting the organization structures and the roles and responsibilities, and it's that steady foundation work which allows the lion to go out. Now, they're both fantastic creatures, but they speak different languages, right? And so if you ever watched a lion and a gorilla try to talk to each other, it's a difficult conversation, right? You get a CEO and a COO together, and the COO is saying, hey, look, have you got a few minutes? I want to talk about putting the roles and responsibilities in place, and we need to adjust the organization. And the CEO's like, I don't want to listen to this. I want to be out there. Just let me go. They're fantastic creatures, and they've both got really important jobs to do, but they're different. They're on a different part of the spectrum. If we can find the right part of the spectrum for each person and allow them to play to their strengths, which is exactly what you said Yves has been doing for that, for the last 7 or 8 years, that's exactly what we need. And then they have that mixture of, yeah, I'm capable, but I also love it. And that's what really builds engagement and ownership for me.
Absolutely. Eve and I just, we always give everybody a week off at Christmas time, and we tend not to give gifts and whatnot, but we give time, right? We're a time management company. That's what we do. So we're all about giving of time. Time is so precious, right? And this year, so Yves used to say to me all the time, he'd say, oh, you just kind of made that decision, did you? Did that just happen? Did it? And I guess I'm not needed here, and that type of thing. And last Monday, we came in, and even I haven't really been needed over a Christmas. You expect a call every now and again, something's down, server's down, they need something, but we haven't got a call for years and years, right? When we say you have ownership, we mean you have ownership. What we got this last Monday in our team meeting, 2 other leaders actually said aloud, I didn't even get a call. I didn't even get, nothing happened this year for me. I guess I wasn't. So when they were called upon to kind of give their, a little bit of interpretation of what happened, during that week, they were like, nothing, you'll have to. And then they asked, of course, their counterpart who took care of that week. And yes, things happened, but they also impassioned their team and made sure that their team understood that make the decision. So we now, after 7 years, start to see the trickle down effect of frontline workers truly believing in the story, truly believing the methodology, and truly believing that even I just simply have their back. We take care of the people, they take care of the business.
No, it's so good the way, and you mentioned this a little bit before, it's not about why I'm not going to hit the target anymore. It's about what can we do to hit the target. And there's a subtle shift in that. And what you've done is you've moved people from focusing on the outcome or the output to the inputs. And this is huge for me in manufacturing. It always used to be, how many widgets could you make per day? Right. And people would go out there and just try to bang out as much product, and volume, the amount of volume they made was considered to be the measure. Right. Yeah. And it's like, but that's just an output. You can't do anything to make that better in itself. All you can do is look at all the different inputs, like the people capability, the quality of the materials coming in, how you set your process up, etc. You can only work on those inputs, and then the output happens. So it's a matter of being able to switch from that and a lot of companies do this, revenue measure or sales measure or whatever else, and jump back down the chain and say, okay, what are the inputs that if we get those right, the output's automatically going to grow. And in a sales business, it might be how many calls are you making, how many good calls are you making, how's your phone manner or whatever it is. There's other things in there that are the inputs we need to work on. And that's where the KPI and the metrics should really be focused, because once you get that part right, the output just flies.
I love that analogy. I never thought about that. Like take it to like a personal growth, for example. It's the same thing. You can run as fast as you can, right? But eventually you're going to have to say, well, what am I eating? Am I sleeping? Am I resting? Am I working out the right way to run faster? Do I have the right, what is my inputs, right? And in our business, because we make software, we make widgets, but what is our input? Well, everything we consume in our brains is input, right?
Yes.
Like if we don't control the input, the output's going to be garbage. Like I know. Faster. I love that. That is so powerful. I never thought about that.
When you look at, I know something very important to you is quality of life, right? Or quality of being. And that's such a complex thing. If people say, oh, I just want to be happy, right? Or I just want to be relaxed, or whatever it is. It's like, okay, well, but what's your operating strategy to get you there? If I take you back to the manufacturing analogy, it can't be bang the hell out of the equipment, just try to run it at full speed, throw the fuel in there and throw the materials and hope that you get more, right? Just turn up the speed, make it faster. You'll get more widgets. No, you'll just get more of a mess, right?
Yeah.
And your quality is going to be off. You're going to have high variability. It's going to be a mess. But if you can go back and you can say, okay, how about my morning routine? How do I reduce variability in my morning routine? How do I make sure that I set myself up for success this day? How do I make sure that the people that I'm surrounding myself with and the information that I'm putting into me gives me an opportunity to end the day feeling fulfilled and joyful? Then you've got that opportunity. And it's the same thing. It's about getting the inputs right and building the right operating strategy that combines all that together, so you give yourself a higher probability of getting a success.
Can we talk a little bit about your personal habits of input? Can we talk about that?
Yeah, sure.
So what do you do, Kevin? Like, I'm kind of curious. What do you do personally, like for your inputs, your habits?
Okay. Pretty simple. First thing for me is getting very clear on my priorities. I know you two have heard this before, but for me, there's 5 priorities. First one is fitness, and the second one is family. Okay, and people say, "Wow, okay, you got 3 kids, you got your wife, right? Shouldn't family be first?" And it's like I can't possibly be, right? If I have to be a role model for the family, or I want to be a role model for the family. And in order to do that, and I want to be able to take care of the family, in order to be able to do that, I have to be full of energy. I have to be well, not sick. And I've got to be in a position where I can earn and lead and role model for the family. So my personal fitness, that's physical and mental, have to come first.
And what do you do for that?
Yeah. So very, very, for me, it's super easy now because I've been doing it over a period of time, but it's really, meditation is a core of it. And so morning meditation, I get up relatively early. I've changed that, especially during COVID, because I'm working a lot more now with American companies. And so my times have switched over a little bit, but I make sure that in the morning I do what I love to do. And so that's an investment in myself. And so a bit of exercise, a bit of nature, some meditation, good breakfast. I set my morning up so that so that I've already invested in myself and I feel fantastic about it. Yeah. And that carries me through the next part. So it's more responsibility based. And then after that morning routine, if I can go back to my priorities for a second, it'll help it be more clear. So with the fitness, mental and physical fitness, because that's my top priority, I schedule that into my year before I schedule anything else. Right. So I know that at least 3 hours every morning is going to be for me. I know that I'm going to have 8 weeks holiday with the family per year. I know that I'm going to set up a certain amount of dinners and times when I'm around for dinners at night with the family. So simple things like that. They're my mental, physical, and then my family things that I put into the schedule first. And then I build in my third F, which is finances, which is basically work and the other stuff that I do. And then I fit that in afterwards. And what that means is when I'm busy at work or when I'm traveling at work, or when I'm away from the home, I never feel guilty about it because I know that I've scheduled in plenty of other time for the other things that are high priority for me. And so if, I up until COVID times, I work a lot overseas and a lot of travel away. And so if I'm for a week in Korea, for example, I never feel bad about that. I'll keep connected with the family, but that's my time. And I know I've got my 8 weeks holiday with the family at another time during the year. So it's about knowing your priorities, getting very clear on them, doing the things that you love. And then I've been able to, exactly what we talked about, professional DNA, I've been able to design my work life around the things that give me energy. So the fact that I had time to write the book, the fact that I had time to do an MBA, they were investments in myself because I scheduled that in. And then I wanted to do those because there were certain things I love doing. I love coaching, and I love I love helping people lead their teams. And so that's what I focused on, and that's what I do. And the other things I've either systemized, so I don't need to spend very much time on it, or I've outsourced it to someone else. So I don't do the things that I don't like doing.
Awesome.
Very good.
Awesome.
Did you have any questions, Shelley, on that?
Oh, I always have questions for Kevin, but I want to, we're coming to the end of our time here. So I want to thank you so much for your kindness over the years, Kevin. Not that it's ending. I mean, we're friends forever, but I want to thank you also for, you guys made a trip to BC, and you were able to send me some beautiful salmon to help feed our homeless in the city. So, there was a big salmon dinner had by those that would never have wild salmon caught from BC and sent in. And that was something that impacted me. I was so grateful for you for doing that. And I appreciate you for doing that. Here you are in Thailand, and you're sending salmon to Moncton, New Brunswick to help feed our homeless. And that is just selfless. So thank you so much.
I don't think there's any way remotely to do the kind of work that you do with the homeless people over there. And I feel kind of useless in a lot of cases in those things. This was just an opportunity where we caught some fish, and it felt like the right thing to do was to send them over. But it's more around, it's great for the homeless people, but I see how much effort you put in order to be able to help those people move forward, and not just get a meal, but move forward in life and have a new start. And that's something that everybody deserves, and not everybody gets the right amount of compassion or support to be able to do. So, thank you for the efforts that you put in. It was an easy decision.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I mean, like I say, it was extremely selfless, and I love you for that. Dovico has supported our homeless. Dovico has supported a lot of, small groups in our city, because we believe that it's not our government's to look after that. It's those of us that are on the ground. It's those of us that are seeing what's happening. If the garbage needs to be empty the garbage. It doesn't matter what or where you think you are in life, where or what status you think you are. So it's all of us helping each other. And that was one thing, so we hadn't mentioned, but we found Kevin. We're introduced to Kevin through Robin Sharma's Titan. And even though the Titans are no longer a yearly group that meet, those of us that have connected have truly connected with our heart and soul. And Kevin, I will be friends with you forever. I can't wait till COVID is over and perhaps I can get to Thailand one day and we can spend a little bit of time together with your family, because the one thing that Titan has given us is each other. And it has given us that growth opportunity that we understand now that leaders aren't dictators, leaders are there for service. And I just want to end with, there was something that I love in your book. And the most important role of a leader is to set direction. And the second is to help the individuals succeed. I want to thank you for that, Kevin, because that is truly how I look at my new role as CEO within the company. They take care of the business and I take care of them. So I want to thank you. I want to thank you so much for being on here today. I will be reaching out again to you to be on again because you are an amazing guest. So I want to thank you so much. This has been, oh, sorry, Yves, do you want to say?
No, don't, it's good.
Okay. This is.
I want to say something, Shelley, before you wrap up.
Yes.
Whoever hears this, if I know that Thailand's a long way away, right? But when these COVID restrictions get done, if you're coming over to Thailand, it's so much nicer when you go to a foreign place if you know somebody and you can kind of be guided a little bit. So please, anybody who hears this, get in touch and just say, hey, I heard this and I just happened to be coming over, and it would be my pleasure to be able to say, well, look, let's do this right? Let me help you find a way to get from the airport to your hotel in a nice way. And so please reach out and do that. And, you know, I've been offered that by people in Canada and people in Mexico and people in Australia or whatever. And so I would love to be able to do the same for anybody else who's listening.
Thank you so much for always making it right. Make it right. This is Kevin Snook. I'm Shelley Butler.
I'm Yves Doucet.
And this is Mindset Monday. Thank you and have a wonderful week. Love you.
Guys.
Put your workout in.